Hello. Welcome to Conch Artist Chat, live artist chat. Yeah, this is for real live. So if you've noticed a glitch, go ahead and say, glitch, saw it. So if you're watching us right now on YouTube or Facebook, you're about to have an amazing, awesome Monday, 13th of October experience. My name is Magaly Colimon-Christopher. I'm the founding artistic director of Conch Productions, the presenters of Conch International Film Festival, and I am here with you. I'm about to introduce you to not one, not two, but three amazing Caribbean heritage film artists. And you know, if you know us at all, that we have two events coming up this week. October 16th, we're going to be presenting Conch International Film Festival community screening. Where? At York College. Yes, we're going to be presenting this in partnership with York College. And the films that we're going to be presenting four films, but two of those films, we have their filmmakers here. Rise. Rise was Conch International Film Festival 2022 winner of the Best Animation Award. Rise Up, correct myself. Rise Up. And we also have, in addition to Grace Stelk, we have the amazing artists Charysse, Tia, Harper, the director and writer of the winner of the CSIFF 2022 Best Documentary Film, The Jill of the Trade. Then, not only are we doing a Thursday screening, which we typically have been doing during this whole fall season, but we're also doing a final screening on October 17th at King Manor Museum. February. No? October. I'm having a glitch because it's so cold today. October 17th at 5 p.m., we're going to be screening Conch International Film Festival 2022's Best Lead Performer, Best Film Winner, Sins of the Father. And I'd like to introduce you all to these amazing filmmakers. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Happy
you.
to be here.
Thank you. So okay, we're gonna give a shout out to where we're based right now because everybody must be thinking what they're thinking about where you all are. So I'm gonna say I'm in New York City. Grace, where are you?
I am in Amsterdam.
Not Amsterdam Avenue, New York, but like literally the country.
No, Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Europe. Yes.
Okay, Charysse
I'm in London, England.
and Azriel.
I am in Trinidad, as in Trinidad and Tobago.
My heart is warming. We have an international community here. I am so excited to have you all here. I'm really excited to have you share with the audience your thoughts on what inspired you to shoot your film. And one thing I want to highlight to everyone, these filmmakers shot their film when?
2020.
During
Yep.
During
yeah,
the pandemic,
yeah.
okay? During very challenging times. And I don't know about you, but I think we all are here understanding that we are once again going through interestingly challenging times. And I'd love to ask you, Grace, what inspired you to develop, write, sh- design your animated film, Rise Up?
Well, 2020 was, of course, also the year that we had the murder of George Floyd. And I was surprised of the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement in the Netherlands because honestly, I didn't expect it. But then I noticed that a lot of people, especially white young people, had questions like, what is racism? And do we also have it here? Is it not something that only exists in the United States, you know? And I thought I would like to give them an answer to that because I can understand that if you do not have it in our educational system, our TV is still biased. How would you know? So Rise Up is actually my answer to those questions they had.
Mm, Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm going to pass the baton on to you, Azriel. What inspired you to tell your story?
For me, so it was a mix of the time. So yes, we were in a pandemic, But it was also my deep fascination with religion and philosophy. And I was curious just about, exploring what is the undertaking of someone really dedicating their lives to some cause or some religion? Is that like, are we capable of doing that as humans? Is there any perfect man or woman out there? And yeah, it's fun to explore.
Mm, mm. And I think that's a question that many of us have in our hearts and minds, right?
Yeah, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and I guess too with the pandemic, I saw a lot of us, and us as just meaning humans, we were so critical of one another and critical of our choices, and this shouldn't happen and that shouldn't happen. But we were all in different places with different resources, just trying to work with what we had. And I found that we needed less criticism and more empathy and understanding.
Oh, yes. I think we can
Yeah,
still feel that right now, right? Less
yeah,
criticism, more empathy. How, I can't, I'm not going to even begin to tell you how often that's been somewhere in the back of my mind, right? How can we develop that muscle to be
yeah.
more empathetic? Thank you for sharing that, Azriel. Charysse.
Yeah, so I really loved hearing the answers from Azriel and Grace. I thought those were excellent motivators during the pandemic. Mine was a bit different. I was working on a master's degree and I was working on my dissertation, which was looking at women in East Africa and microfinance. And I wanted to touch upon a story that highlights women in male dominated professions because as I started doing research about that, I found that these women were the breadwinners and in essence, some were doing male dominated jobs. So, in looking at the Jill of the Trade, I wanted to talk to 5 women from across the world who were doing the same thing. So, the pandemic gave me a lot of opportunities to virtually reach out to people, and it made people more focused on responding via email because back in the day, you would call, you would try to go various places. So I just really wanted to highlight the plight that women have, not only, say, in the United States or the UK, but this is a situation that goes on all over the world. And it was very important to find 5 women from different cultures, different languages to illustrate that point.
So I want to ask all of you, you're a filmmaker, and it's typically, every filmmaker talks about their challenges telling their story. What challenges did you face shooting your films at that time in human history that you
Mm.
feel enlightened you on your journey as an artist? Whoever wants to jump in and share your thoughts on that. It's like, how has that impacted your journey as an artist? That experience.
Hmm.
That's a tough question.
Yeah. Ladies first.
Okay, I'll share because my film Aftershocks will be in the festival. I think it gave me this endless possibility mindset, right?
Hmm.
I couldn't be held down by the limitation of lockdown, the limitation of stay safe, stay home, right? And my creativity wouldn't be inhibited by outer givens. That's what I took away from it, and it's something that I look back on whenever I hit a blockage, and I go, okay, I survived the pandemic. Let's not give up, right? So I produced it, I wrote it, and an amazing team of people came together at a time when we were coming together as a people, right? So that's something like also take away that even though there are times when I don't feel like people come together with empathy and all that, that we did and we can. So I'm going to keep on trying, right?
That is
Yeah.
beautiful. I think for me it's different because Rise Up was my first movie. I do not have a background in film, so this was a tryout, and I had no budget at all, just an idea. And the good thing about the pandemic at the time was that everybody had time. And the thing I discovered was that you can do everything online. So maybe I met my team once or twice live, and the rest we did like by video calling, and stuff like that. So for me, it was pretty amazing how much you can do even when you're not physically together.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I love that. I love
Th-
that.
that dovetails so nicely with what was said just now about limitations. I think for me that was I mean, so many things could be takeaways, but for me that was the biggest one because in Trinidad we had some restrictions where you could not congregate in groups more than five. So I had to keep my film crew within that number. And when I was doing the pre-production, like you, Grace, I don't have a very large background in film. My school is YouTube and Google and just books, right?
Right.
And looking at actual films, right? So um, when I was figuring it out in pre-production, I said, this is impossible. I can't do this. But I said that this is one type of restriction right now. If I had a budget of, let's say, 50 million, it would be some $50 million hurdle. It would be some other problem. So I said that this is just the problem that's presented to me now. And again, going back to limitations, I think limitations are the things that generate that creativity because you have to find a way, right? You have to find a way, especially if that story is really like buried in your heart and just rooted in there. I think we saw like during the pandemic when I would say humanity was at one of its lowest points, art still found a way. We still did our films. They may not have looked, like what we had in our heads, but we did it. We did it through the limitations. So yeah, I do think that limitations hurt, but they also help.
I really love what everyone said here. It's everything you all said. I think every filmmaker can relate to not having a budget, trying to overcome barriers. It's so nice to hear you all say it because when you're working alone, when you're producing and directing, you feel like it's only you that's going through it. But yeah, hearing you all go through the same battle, I mean, my motivation during 2020 was really I mentioned about wanting to focus on women empowerment. So at that time I wanted to work on a documentary about female bullfighters. But of course with the pandemic everything shut down. And making the Jill of the Trade was my secondary option because I still wanted to make a film in 2020. I always try to do a film every 3 or 4 years, and I'm like, I need to get something done this year. So it didn't matter what I was going through, I was like, I'm going to get it done. And for me, at least, this was my cheapest film because I didn't have to hire a crew. Everything was done virtually. I actually paid the women to shoot footage of themselves, and yeah, and they were able to follow instructions really well. But yeah, it was the cheapest film I was able to do. But the hardest part is that each each woman speaks a different language, so just getting that translated and getting it subtitled, and that actually was the biggest challenge, understanding how to work with a team that may not be fluent in English or Spanish. But I found it to be such a rewarding experience that I felt that if I could do that in 2020, nothing's out of my range.
I love that you shared that because what I love about almost all of the films in our collection for Thursday, October 16th at York College. There are subtitles. And I really, of course the younger generation is used to subtitles on Netflix because there are films from around the world on Netflix. But the thing is, the universal human story is all that really matters. And subtitles allows us to bridge the differences that are interpreted and allows us to become a human community as opposed to a community that speaks Russian or Eritrean or Spanish or Dutch. We're a human community. So
I would like to say that, I mean, in the Netherlands, we grew up with subtitles. We don't know any better. I mean, that's how I learned, to speak English and everything like that. So, I mean, I do believe that people like in the United States or English speaking countries, you are spoiled. You are.
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm going to toss the next question to you, Grace, as the member of the spoiled community. Do you feel that film is a tool that awakens consciousness or that it preserves collective memory? How do you view the role of film in society?
I view it as yes, I would like to believe that you can awake consciousness. I would like to believe that we can make people feel and see things from a different perspective. And what I hope is that it will make you realize that at the end of the day, all stories, all human stories are universal stories. So I hope that yes, that film makes you see the human in each other. It brings us together. That's yeah, I do believe that. That's the reason for me to make film.
Hmm.
I love that you share that. Um, who else would like to jump in and share their viewpoints on that question of the role of film in society, whether it's to awaken consciousness or simply to preserve collective memory? Um,
I can add to that. I totally agree with Grace. Film, I mean, when I hear the word film, I think of myself sitting in a theater, right? And to me, it's that. I mean, we mentioned Netflix. There's all these streaming services, but there's a special feeling of sitting in a dark room where your senses are sort of, blocked out, and you just get to embrace what's in front of you. And I always look at
mm,
film as you take the best book you've ever read, you take the best song you've ever heard, and you take the best collection of photographs you've ever seen, and you pack all that into a package, and you say, okay, you sit and just consume this thing. So yeah, I do think it's a tool to awaken consciousness because when else do you sit for, let's say, a 2 hour film and just embrace it and just sit and do nothing? Right now, we're stimulated by all these different things. I don't think our consciousness is even getting a chance to say one word to us because it's an ad from Instagram and an ad from TikTok and the billboard and the cell phone and the television, and it's so much noise. But a film, let's just say it starts with like a 15-second one take, it slows you all the way down, and it gives you room to have, as Grace said, like a feeling, an emotion. Oh, I feel sad. This shot, it makes me think of my mom, or this lyric, it makes me think of my lost friend. And you realize that I can, have this feeling as well as someone in the Netherlands. We both went through loss and we related the same way. So I absolutely think that film is crucial in society for consciousness.
I love that you share that, Azriel. Now, Charysse, you shot a documentary. So you may think that's a question that I live by. But do you have any thoughts that you want to share on that question?
Yeah, I mean, all I could say is that I second what Azriel and Grace said. I think that film, it's so important. I mean, I wish that there was a heart button. You know how on Teams, how there's that heart button that you can press when you're talking out of Azriel. I'm like, it's so true. We're always impacted by so much noise. I only watch films in a cinema, or if I can get somebody to watch a film with me at home. I don't watch films alone at home because you get to that point where you're pausing to do this and you're stopping to do that. But I love when you're with a group and just, I'm that person when I'm in a cinema. I love hearing people say, "Oh no, what happens?" And I do the same thing. I'm like, "Don't go there," and it's great. And you could be watching a biography and someone says, "Oh yeah, I remember back in 1970 something," and it's great. For me, it's one of the best feelings in the world, and that's why I became a filmmaker. Was I remember sitting in the cinema watching here, just seeing the way that people reacted to a film. It was The Count of Monte Cristo, the one made in 2000, and I just remember it was I think maybe 12 of us in the cinema, and I just remember hearing the emotions going through people, and I'm like, wow, if this could take away from people's reality for 2 to 2.5, well now 3 hours, it's perfect because so many people are going through pain, and it's just so nice to see people embracing film. And nowadays how you watch something and you can go home or even on your journey home and then Google more about it, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I
Something,
love
if
that.
I can,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Azriel.
if I can just add to what Therese said, you mentioned watching, not just watching a film, but watching it with someone. And I think that's a really important point because, I mean, it's a community, right? So it's very different if you're watching a film with someone and you have no reaction to a scene and they start just crying And you might have like, this is not a sad scene. Why are you crying? But they have such a personal human experience. And then you may ask the question like, why are you crying? Why are you so sad? And they could break that down. And then that generates a new appreciation in you for whatever's happening on the screen. And I think sometimes we take that for granted, that experiencing art in a bubble is one thing, but to experience it with a group, that's taken it to like a whole new level, which I guess is why concerts are so popular, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. So we can just then segue to my next question, which is when you think about your audience, Azriel, right? When they're watching the film at you where you're screening at King Manor Museum on October 17th, what do you want the audience to take away? Do you want it to be an emotional takeaway, an intellectual takeaway, a spiritual takeaway, or
That's a trick.
something else? Maybe
That's a
those
trick
three are not
question.
enough. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I call it a trick question because I want so many takeaways, but I think that we're all human, and if I could summarize it, I would want the audience to just spend those 13 minutes just being human and just have a reaction. Let it be all the reactions. Let it be intellectual, emotional, let it be visceral. Even if you're bored, that's probably a good sign. I mean, it means that okay, this is not the type of story for you, right? You know what you don't want, but just be human. Just spend those 13 minutes and allow your senses to be overwhelmed and just allow yourself to experience it. Um, I mean, that answer is different. If you had asked me that in 2022, I would have said, I want an intellectual takeaway where people analyze Christianity and the fragility of humanity and all that good stuff. But when I sat in the cinema and I was fortunate enough to hear the crowd react to the film and the moment, Charysse, that moment that you had with the Count of Monte Cristo, there's a turning point in my film, and I heard the entire audience gasp, and I felt like this little thing went off inside of me, and I said, I want to do this again. Like that was so much fun, seeing people have a reaction, and I'm sure some were bored, and it was intellectual for someone, it was emotional for some, but it was just fun being part of that human experience. So to the audience, when they're looking at the film, just relax and enjoy.
I love that. I love that. And I'm happy that you said it's a 13-minute film, right? Because these are short films. So we're not going to be screening four full length films. You're not going to be sitting in the cinema for 4, 8, 12 hours. These are amazing short films. And what I love about short films is they're a nugget of humanity. So I'm going to pass the baton on to you, Grace, if you don't mind. And what do you hope that the audience takes away from this? Do you want it to be an emotional, intellectual, spiritual takeaway or something else entirely?
Well, I had this answer, and then Azriel said what he learned during the years, and I'm like, okay, should I still mention that? No,
Yes, yes, you should.
I would love people to just sit back and relax, but I would also love for people to realize that to know right from wrong is not something that is taught in books or in theory, but it is something that you feel. And that's why I used animation in the movie, because I think everyone can relate to a bird, right? If I would use a person with a certain skin color, people would, either you would identify or you wouldn't, or if it would be a certain gender, you would identify or you probably wouldn't. But with this, I hope that everybody can connect to the story. So I hope it hits you, and I hope it makes you realize, yeah, like I said, right from wrong, that you can
Hmm.
in your gut. Yeah.
Hmm. Right from wrong. I love that. I love that. I'm gonna then pass the baton on to you, Cherise.
Thank you. As always, great answers by you both. Yeah, for me, in terms of when I want people to watch my film, it's a 22-minute film, and I want people to just have an understanding of what's occurring in the world. As you said, Grace, and it's very true. I think the Anglophone world, especially those in the United States, and I mean, I would say the UK as well, having lived here in a bit, we're so spoiled with the English language, but the United States is so insular. You think that everything that occurs in the world happens within your borders. And
Hmm.
the reason and the Jill of the trade, I just want people to understand that, oh, this is an issue that happens everywhere. And that's why I have one woman who is from the United States. Because people are so quick to say, oh yeah, I'm not surprised they treat women so badly in Russia and Afghanistan, but oh, it's happening in the U.S. too. So I just want people to recognize that these things, it's not just a developing nation problem, but it's something that's going on globally.
Thank you. And especially at this time in US history, I think a lot of women are going to resonate with that
Mm.
messaging because, yeah, Gloria Steinem, I just wish she'd just like be reborn, because wow, I that's a whole conversation and a half that we're not going to get into.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I love the messaging that you want to share. So if there were like 3 or 4 words you wanted to put in a hashtag for young, emerging Caribbean heritage filmmakers, you know, uh, what do they want to use art for? What would your hashtag be?
Hmm. We each have to come up with four.
It could be 1 word, it could be 2 word, it could
Okay.
be 4 word, it could be half a word.
Hmm.
Hashtag boom. Because everybody loves a hashtag. It's a community builder.
I would go for hashtag empowerment.
Ooh, I love
Wow.
that. Hashtag empowerment. Love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Hmm. Mine's pretty simple. It's just hashtag do.
I love that.
Meaning just don't get lost in your head. Spend the time thinking, but once you're out in the field, you got the camera, just do it. Just do it. Do it imperfectly. Do it nervous, happy, sad. Just do it.
Yeah, love that. Grace?
Love it. I don't have a simple hashtag or a short one. I think just share the story you want to see.
Hashtag share the
Yeah,
story you want to
Yeah.
see. Doesn't have
Yeah.
to be short. Doesn't
yeah.
have to be short. So what's next? Anybody want to share what project they're excited about now? If you don't, that's also cool. You could just say, watch my Insta to find out.
Well, I actually have something that I'm very excited about. This year, I got funding from the Dutch film funds. Thank you. I'm so excited. And I am making a hybrid docu series about the Black women movement in the Netherlands during the 70s and 80s up until the zeros. And the reason why I'm very inspired about all those American movies and shows and documentaries that we see about James Baldwin and the Black Panther movie. And like 14 years ago, I found out like we had a Black women movement that I knew nothing about, but it is the generation of my aunties and such, and they never really shared their experiences. So I'm like, I want to make a film which is based in the Netherlands, Dutch history, but actually also universal. So
I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
yes,
yes.
Congratulations.
Love
Yeah,
it.
love
Congrats.
that. I can't wait to see it.
thanks. Check my Insta. No.
Check
Hey,
my
there we go.
Insta.
Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Comment.
Support. Support. Anyone else would like to share?
I can share. No short film work on the horizon, but I am working on a photo documentary book that chronicles South American migration into Trinidad, but reframing it through the lens of colonialization. So I'm showing that the migration patterns that are taking place now from like modern Venezuela into Trinidad, it's actually what our ancestors did way before the Gulf of Paria and all that stuff. That was actually like a community, like a big highway, and then the ice caps melted, and now there's water, colonization, all that good stuff. They invented borders, and now these people are just trying to repeat what their ancestors did. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so check my Insta, keep updated, all the fun stuff.
Nice.
Wow, both projects. Yay! I'm so excited for you both. And for mine, I mentioned that documentary about female bullfighters, so I'm finally on it. I shot a teaser last year, and I'm looking at three female bullfighters, one in Spain, Peru, and Mexico. So I'll be
Wow.
journeying to each of those locations to, yeah, and there won't be much bullfighting, surprisingly. It'll really be about women in this extremely male dominated society, and it's even more so than I had realized. So it will be like the plan is to release
Wow.
it in early 2027. But at the
Wow.
moment, I am going around showing the teaser along with the Jill of the Trade, just to let people know that I'm still on the same path of female empowerment in my stories.
Can I
Lovely.
say I've actually never seen a female bullfighter.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's very common. And I hadn't either until I started doing
Yeah.
this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting work.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Congratulations to everyone. And I want everybody to know that you've got to come see these films so that you can tie these amazing spirits with their amazing messaging. And as you know, it's this week. It's this week. And when is it this week? I'm going to tell you October 16th, October 17th. Where? York College, King Manor Museum, and best guess what? King Manor Museum is selling out. So you better just hurry up and sign up for York College, okay? Thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you. And thank you, Flushing Town Hall, Queens Community Arts Grants, for making this event possible. And I can't wait to support your next projects and your art book. We need to talk. We got to figure out how we incorporate it in the next film festival.
Sure,
There's
sure.
no limit, no limit. Thank you for being unlimited. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for teaching Caribbean heritage artists that yes, yes, yes is all that matters. Hashtag yes, that's my hashtag. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Uh,
Nice meeting you. Bye.